So 2 weeks ago, I did have the honor and privilege of visiting Israel along with other temple lay, staff, and clergy leaders. At all times, we were mindful that we were representing the entire Temple Emanu-El community. It was a trip full of extreme contrasts, grief and despair coexisting with hope and resolve, a feeling that nothing would ever be the same again, and the normalcy of early morning Jerusalem traffic jams and lunch at a Tel Aviv restaurant packed with business people, a displaced community living at our hotel in Jerusalem, and the children of that community hopping on our elevators in the morning bearing backpacks as they headed off to school. Standing at Kibbutz Nir Oz on an absolutely perfect weather day, surrounded by the natural beauty of the flowering plants and trees, the chirping of birds, but simultaneously feeling as though we were visiting hell amid the bullet holes, shattered glass, and charred remains of the homes of that community where so many were murdered and taken hostage. More fundamentally, we saw stark evidence of the very worst of humanity and had numerous interactions with the very best of humanity. We met with members of the Al-Kalari family, Bedouin truck drivers who, in the course of attempting to rescue a cousin who was working on one of the Gazan envelope kibbutzes, saved the lives of dozens of young Israelis who had fled the Nova Music Festival and were hiding from the terrorists in trees and fields. We met with Mohammed Darwashi, an Arab-Israeli leader who has worked tirelessly to promote shared existence and constructive dialogue between Israel's Jewish and Arab communities. Most memorably for me, we met so many Israelis whose lives were turned upside down on October 7th, shattered by the failures of their own government and military leaders, and of course by the evil that invaded that day. Notwithstanding the grief they are still processing, and notwithstanding the fact that their government is paralyzed and non-functioning, the people of Israel are determined to move forward, to volunteer anywhere and everywhere to help those in need, to do all they can to support the families of the hostages, and to join in efforts to secure their release, to support the brave soldiers of the IDF and their families. We were all a bit unsure going into this trip whether making the trip now was actually good for Israel. Maybe it would be better if we didn't get in the way, if we just sent the money we were going to spend on airfare and hotels and restaurants. But when we were there, every single Israeli with whom we met thanked us profusely for coming. What was palpable throughout the trip was this huge sense of Jewish peoplehood, the same peoplehood that created the state of Israel, that built the country into what it is today, and that will enable it to now move forward. And it was deeply meaningful to those with whom we met to know that that peoplehood includes a vibrant congregation of more than 2,600 households 7,000 miles away in Dallas, Texas. On the final afternoon of our trip, we met with Yaron Shavit, the deputy chairman of the Jewish Agency. Yaron told us he was optimistic about the future, that the government is not functioning, but the people are filling the void, that Jewish peoplehood was strong, and that we will come out stronger because we have no choice, that we aren't going anywhere and our neighbors aren't going anywhere. Yaron noted that in the Bible, Joseph had dreams, that Zionism had been a dream, that now Israel needs help in dreaming good dreams for the future. And he thanked us profusely for coming. Shabbat Shalom.